Although I've been working with students and I've been in front of an audience, let's say, for 26 years, quite late in life I decided to go on with my PhD studies. And let me tell you a few things, like how it all started. It was 2000 when I started working with Socrates Comenius programs in my school. I work in a private school in Athens, Greece, and at the time I was the head of the English department. In my school there are about 1,600 students, and there's a primary and secondary school, junior high and senior high. And let's say it's in the center of Athens in a nice residential area, and it's a French Greek school. And actually it's a school that was founded by Frère Maristes, so it has a kind of Catholic orientation, although almost all students are Orthodox. But it's, let's say, a non-profit organization, and this is something very important, the spirit of the frères that are in the school. It's very important for us as teachers and the students. Anyway, in 2000 I started with the Socrates Comenius program, and then I went on with student exchanges, and then I learned about this MUN, the Model United Nations. And since that time I've been the MUN advisor of my school. I've worked with hundreds of students, and the reason why I thought about doing something more, it was because I wanted to examine what actually happens with those students once they finish this program. And are you familiar with the Model United Nations? Have you participated or familiar with it?
I am not that familiar.
Okay. Has any of you ever participated in a conference like this? Oh, okay. All right, the lucky guy, so you can help me out. First of all, the Model United Nations is a conference. They're organizations for university students and for school students. And I'm talking about the school level. So what happens is every schools participate, and every school represents a country. And then every student, usually is with 6 or 7 students, every student gets in a committee, like a political committee or the ECOSOC committee or humanitarian, and all these are United Nations forums. So actually it's a usually 3-day simulation of exactly what happens in United Nations conferences. And they're discussing the subjects that are the current issues that they're discussing in the United Nations. And they follow, so they have the same material and they follow the same procedure. They have to draft resolutions, prepare policy statements, and make speeches, and actually defend the country they represent, whether they like it or not. So this is something we can talk about. And we're talking about senior high school students, usually in Greece, students from 15 to 18. In Greece, you all know what's happening with the financial crisis, and the people have turned a little bit, or very indifferent, or resorted to the idea that we'll never get out of it, no matter how many more loans we're going to get. And then even the students, they have that feeling of disappointment with what they can do as citizens later on to change the situation. And they're not into politics that much, and they know what democracy is. They've read about Aristotle and Plato and Socrates, but they say yes, but there's nothing we can do. So this is how the whole thing started, that maybe we can do something, or maybe we can think about changing something, but we have to know what it is first. So I decided to start that project of mine, and actually it is a participatory action research project, because that's a tricky thing in this specific project. I have many roles, let's say. First of all, I have to say that I am on educational leave, which means I don't have to teach. That's why I'm a full-time student at the University of Birmingham. But however, I still organize the MUN conferences in my school. That's why my supervisor and all the nice professors, they are in Birmingham, the University of Birmingham, and I literally stay on the airplane, if you remember that film, and airports, traveling back to forth to Greece to see my students. So that's a little problem, but also it's exciting. So it is a participation, it's an action research project, which means I work and with my students, and we do things together. So it's very difficult to switch, as my supervisor says, from one role to the next and wear a different magician's hat every time, because I am the advisor, but also I am a person who is there, some of the students have known me for years, maybe not my students, but they've known their face, they know who they are, so this is Marie or whatever, and also as a researcher. And also as an MUN advisor, where I talk with the rest of advisors. So I know that somebody might say that I can't be objective, and I say that I will try to be as much as possible, but on the other hand, I will try to look at them from a distance as far as possible, but also be close enough to listen to their voices, because that makes a difference. And for me, it's a change for me. It's not only a different feeling for the students, because throughout this procedure, throughout these 10 years, I've changed a lot myself. And this is how it all came about. Since it happened to me, it might happen to someone else. But since I don't know what exactly happened to me, let's see what happens to my students. And another inspiration was a student of mine who we started together when he was 16. He went through 4 different MUN sessions, and then he entered the university, and then he decided to become a member of an organizing committee of an MUN conference. And then he came to Oxford, and to Oxford University, and he participated in another MUN conference, and something happens. I would like to see, however, the point is, I would like to see how my students view the idea of global citizenship, and whether they can identify, very difficult, I don't think they can do it, but they can have a glimpse of that identity, of who I am. Is it only me that I should be interested in, just my family, my community, the financial crisis in Greece, or is there anything else beyond that? And this is what I'm trying to see. And my questions are, what's the students' understanding of global citizenship, especially after the participation? And in order to be global citizens, they need special skills. And does the MUN help them, the conference help them to hone these skills? They're going to negotiate, there's public speaking, they're going to defend their arguments. And how do social skills develop after their participation in the conference? So in this action research project, I had a pilot study. I went through ethical review with the university board, and I had a pilot study in March with the conference in Athens Model United Nations Conference. And out of 19 students, 17 students wanted to participate, although I needed fewer students because it was just a pilot study. Even their parents begged me and told me, yes, please, we really want our child to be part of this program. And the first phase of this project is going to be in October 2012 in the German School Model United Nations. And the second one, official phase, is going to be in April 2003 with another conference. And every time there might be the same or similar students, the same or different students. It depends on the situation. They're not obliged to participate a second time, but they can do that if they want. I can't tell you many things about the pilot study because I haven't analyzed the findings yet. I haven't analyzed it yet, so this is going to be done and hopefully will be presented in the conference at the University of Birmingham on July 7. So I have a lot of work to do till that time. And during the pilot study I had interviews with my, semi-structured interviews with my students. Students, participants, it's the same thing in this case. And then I will have more things to say. Well, I wanted to talk to you about what I found extremely interesting at the beginning was the idea of action research, the idea of being a part of the play, let's say. And I started reading Chemis and McTaggart, and then it was like I was able to find a whole new world. And I could see myself in it. I started reading Jean McNeill, and I think that I was a part of this book. And I said, this is what I should do. I can't look at the students from a distance. I have to be next to them in order to see what really happens and work with them. And then another reason, another inspiration was, let's say, what's happening in Greece. And this extreme racism and xenophobia that we can see in Greek society against immigrants, illegal immigrants, whatever it is, whoever it is, different color. And then we had to see that feeling of globalization, but not like the financial globalization, but whether we should do something about what's happening in the world and how responsible we are about this situation and how we can situate ourselves in that planet, on that planet. And I got a lot of ideas from Nussbaum and the idea of a closely knit community, and also David Held and the idea of communities of Fade and Anderson and the imagined community. Well, all ideal. Maybe that's why the poster is like this. Because it's like what I have in my mind. It's like the sky, because the whole thing is up in the sky in this situation. And whenever I talk to students about this, they say, come on, I mean, this is so unrealistic, what you're saying. But it isn't. And that's why the sun is in the middle, because, and that's why this staircase and people trying to climb it and reach the sun, which is my inspiration. The one piece here is from Chemis, and talking about to make the world understandable, because at this age you try to understand what your identity is, and also where you stand. And then I got inspired by Freire, and first of all I got inspired by the critical theorists and Marcuse. I read the One-Dimensional Man and said, well, this is, it was not written at that time, it's written now. And then little by little I moved on, and I reached Maclaren, Giroux and Freire, and talking about liberatory education, but there's nothing to liberate by. Maybe my students need to be liberated out of all these constraints. Trying to be critical, because this is one thing that we rarely do in Greece with the Greek educational system. The students have to study at home, learn things by heart, repeat them at home next day. There are very few projects, and there's very, very little critical thinking. So the students, once they go there and they ask them to express their opinion, something happens. And I've got only 3 minutes. Something happens, and they realize that they're on their own. So the most important thing about this MUN is that the students now are not obliged to do anything, are not obliged to learn anything by heart or recite anything, but they just can read and express their opinions. And well, I suppose that once it is finished, and I hope it's going to be finished in 2 years' time, 2 more years, I think it might prove useful, because the question is, what is going to do with this after it's done? It was one way supervisor's questions, all right? So somebody may read this, and what are they going to do with this? They might use it, like school directors might use it, or other citizenship education, or English teachers, or anybody who would like to inspire their students, if I have positive results, because I don't know yet. I just hope. I'm up in the clouds still, because it's my first year, but I'm hopeful.